All right, folks, good afternoon and welcome on back here to close out our week this Friday, June 10th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. At least for those of us still stick with me here in Cyber Group, like Norman and Wendy and Bobby. Great to see you all back here, Chuck included. Great to see all of us back on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube here. I'll tell you what, Fridays are normally pretty slow, the outliers of the week. Mondays and Fridays, not as much, company-specific news out there. If you look back on earnings calendars, normally it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then even furthermore, for a summer, right? Summer Fridays are normally expected to be slow, nickels and dimes type of day. This was the furthest thing from a nickels and dimes day. Unbelievable, right? I mean, obviously the markets had dropped off. We ended up seeing continuation from yesterday afternoon's move. But we are day traders here at Cyber Trading University and otherwise traders just in general. So we need to follow the market. And for those of us that are able to short, well, it made some pretty easy opportunities on stocks that we traded from yesterday, like Billy and Neo and a slew of others. DocuSign, that was specific to this morning, but that led to a nice drop off as well after the open. But aside from that, obviously here, our EDU is on the screen. Just to be transparent, we weren't even trading this one. I just, kind of turned over to this right before we had started this call. But it was Redbox, right? RDBX. And folks, I mean, it doesn't always work out this way. The cookie doesn't always crumble this way. But not only were we calling this thing out at 8:40 Eastern time in pre-market saying, hey, watching Redbox here, folks, it was up 6% in pre-market. It was inching up, teasing it, teasing it, teasing it. So, of course, we hope for, the big pop and the run after. We don't always get it. But, there were so many clues. The writing was on the wall for this red box trade, even dating back to, Wednesday of this week. Because Wednesday of this past week, or Wednesday of this week, we ended up seeing this really fail to pop higher. I don't have the chart here. I might have to go back on the 5-minute. But ultimately, back on Wednesday, this thing really was teasing the same type of pop, and it just failed to really snap over the VWAP here. Chart doesn't look that great. Doesn't look like it's near the highs, obviously, back then. But it was teasing a re-break above the VWAP, acting as resistance. And we were strongly led to believe that back then, if it broke out, would have led to a really extensive run. So obviously it didn't happen Wednesday. It didn't happen yesterday. But it's a stock that we've been really familiar with, though, over the last, 2 months at this point, 3 months at this point. So, this thing's just been a great sideless stock at minimum. And today, going into the open, all eyes were on this thing. It wasn't on the CTU morning watch list. That's all right. Doesn't need to be. After the open, as long as either myself or, a couple of our students like Chuck and Norman had their eyes on this alongside myself in pre-market here, once it breaks above resistance, you get the chance to try and take the trade. And, it took a while for the real run to come to fruition, but because of our belief of what could have happened Wednesday afternoon, that led us to hold on to this runner the whole way up. And when I say the whole way up, and I normally don't have the chance to do this because, I mean, we don't always have a runner like Redbox every single day of the week. Most days of the week we do. But, in the sense of this panning out as well as we could possibly imagine, what time is that at? Like 10:51 Eastern time, folks? I was like, writing this more like as a joke than it to be, actually guaranteed. But I was saying, hey, 1425, it'd be an interesting top on Redbox later on today. And that was posted in the chat at prior to 11 o'clock Eastern time. So the more this goes up and up and up and up and up and up, you certainly anticipate for that to actually pan out and for it to come to fruition. So ultimately on my trade, I ended up scaling out at 1275. I was in from 10. I ended up getting out on the last half over 13. It was before this big shake here, so I was really happy to get out. I wish I could tell you I got back in. I did not get back in on Redbox, but penultimately it ended up moving all the way up towards as high as 1464, broke above my 1425. But that was based off the weekly chart, looking at like a really historical weekly close on the weekly chart there. But Redbox right now, even it's still showing some life. Volume significantly waned off from earlier today. That is to be expected, but just given the range the stock has made, it definitely looks tradable. I'll come back to this just at the tail end of our meeting here. I'll definitely write it down on the side, but if it ends up showing even more signs of life here into this afternoon, I'll be more keen to follow it. All right, so folks, I'll tell you what, Fausto is finishing up the phase 3 stock course coming up at 3:05 Eastern time. Obviously he was back this morning. He had a really good open himself with you folks there, between COGT, IMTE, obviously Redbox. I think after that was AERC. I mean, there was just like a royal rumble of different, stocks that were running earlier today. So let's go across the top of the gainers list here, and we'll just quickly scan. With Redbox obviously moving as much as it did here, RDBXW, the warrants are on the top of the gainers list here. Normally, we're not as particular about the warrants. We're normally not, because they're normally pretty illiquid. Looking at level 3 here, it's got a pretty thin order book. Obviously, looks like a great chart. Moved up really well today, from $1 up over 250. The warrants will make a bigger percent move, compared to the equity oftentimes. But, I'm not going to get drawn into it. I'd much rather trade the more liquid equity Redbox. All right, come back to our EDU. I'm happy that we stepped away from it at first, because obviously this thing does not look too good now. Maybe it was deserving of a pullback after how much it already ran, but just for something that normally doesn't trade this much volume across the day, it's going to be exhausted after a point in time, and more often than not, if it's exhausted, it's not going to make a second win type of move heading into the afternoon. If it does, it's just going to be a continued drop off here. So, yeah, right now the redo trade, REDU, we're going to pass. COGT, another runner from earlier today. This was really good to us earlier this morning. Beginning in pre-market, it was on our pre-market list, morning watch list, and with that, I mean, hey, I was more interested in Redbox personally. I told you that, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you I can catch them all. So I missed out on COGT at first, but again, you look at the chat board, you go back through the chat, and you see the call outs that I'm making with students live in coaching sessions. I was working with one of our students, Allison, and this was at the time that, hey, this was like kind of like at 9:25, 9:35 here. We actually had a fib retrace set up right there. And at that point, we were saying, well, it should be beginning to pull back lower and lower. And if it falls down to the next support, roughly off of 870 to 880, I'm going to look to jump in. So it dropped down exactly to 870. Doesn't look like the greatest thing in the world, but right off the level that we had called out, 870 led to the initial bounce, and that was roughly where the VWAP was. So I was really hoping for a lot more on that. Of course, I ended up getting out on that trade with 16-cent profit. I was up as much as 32 cents, and things were looking good. But you wanted more and wanted more, but if you're not going to get it, you may as well just jump out, because similar to the, redo trade, for as much as this ran up earlier today and for as much volume as this stock traded today compared to what it normally doesn't do, prior to today, stock trades about like a few 100,000 shares on average per day. More often than not, this thing is going to come back down. So I only grabbed like a few cents on it. It ended up slamming right back down here. It's just flat here at this point. So for the afternoon, we'll definitely pass. It doesn't seem too good right now. Keep it going. MICS, it's near the highs, don't get me wrong, but it's pretty illiquid, trading about 4,000 or 5,000 shares per minute. That number should drop off over time as well, so I'd be pretty careful there. DRTS, gonna pass. Redbox, it's kind of on our side list here for right now. RDBX, at this point, we don't have anything on the main watch list, so that might just make the list for that reason alone. But, right now, otherwise, AERC, hey, it was looking good until it didn't look good, right? It was building up pretty nicely here. It looked a little rugged, actually, but trending up with higher lows, higher highs at first. And then it failed to really break above the high and break above, 1150 for the most part. And then from there, obviously, just now, a big snap down. This stock could still be in contention just because it ended up dropping off from like 110 all the way down to sub 2. And then from, earlier this week, we ended up seeing this make a huge pop and run. So, or even back from Friday last week, that could have been, or Monday this week. Otherwise, just, really big day over day run. And for as much as it dropped off on the long term, there is a chance where if we happen to see direction hold here, and this actually pop back up, this could really go another like $2 or $3, if not perhaps even more. The only issue is just the liquidity or lack thereof. There's like nothing really to work off of here on the book. So is it like really worth watching, or is it more of like a gamble, more of like a, kind of a higher risk trade? So right now at this point in the afternoon, after doing as well as we've done on Redbox and on the COGT even, and the others that we'll jump to, just I'm not really too particular about this. Norman had called out Goro earlier, Goro. Hey, it's pushing up. Contrary to the other one, this one really liquid, but it's like almost too slow at this point. Pushed up nicely when Norman had called it out at first, but yeah, right now we'll pass. Maybe it's gold altogether. GDXU I see up there. There's Nugget, gold mining ETF, up near 10% right now. I haven't seen Nugget in a long time. We have a couple of our students like Grant inside our live trading room that focus on gold. Hey, it's having a great day today. Don't get me wrong. I want to focus on something that looks pretty sharp. As a day trade, has a really good opportunity to make a strong pop higher. Uh, give me a quick moment here, folks. Give me a quick moment here. I don't know what just happened. Quick second here. I don't know what just happened. Just my platform just shut off for a quick moment. Let me just get the screen back up, which was odd too. Sec. All right, social media, you are good to go for all of us live inside the trading room. Just give me a split second. Obviously, screen went out for a moment. Let's see. I might be. Oh, I need to maybe do this. For all of us on social media right now, really quickly, I just had the audio and video go out, so just give me a quick second. Going to get everything back up and running right now. Bingo. At least for all of us on social media, you have the video, and then for all of us live inside the trading room, again, just bear with me for a quick moment. I don't know what happened there. I was on a nice roll for a moment, but then obviously screen went blank for a bit. So let me just reshare my screen. I think that everybody could hear me. Just give me a quick moment. All right, we'll go turbo here throughout the remainder of this meeting, folks. I appreciate you just understanding. I don't know what happened just there, but we'll get everything officially up in just a quick moment. All right, for all of us live inside the trading room, can you see the screen? Should be good now. All right, we are good. All right, so I apologize. I lost my footing there for a second. So IMTE, going back to this one briefly as we continue the gainer side, ended up making a nice pop earlier. Hey, it's moving on up pretty nicely here, trading about 29, 30,000 shares. That number will drop off, but it is pretty liquid too. So, as much as I say that, also look at the daily chart. This stock took a huge hit back from Wednesday of this week from 13 all the way down to sub 3. So, there is a chance where shorts cover and this continues to push. I don't mind this right now, IMTE. If anything, this will make the main list, and then just to expedite time, you know what? I'll slap Redbox back on our watch list here for this afternoon. So, those two at least will make the cut for right now. Market otherwise, as you could see, the SPY on the 5-minute chart here really flat. So after the morning drop off, at least not a whole lot really happening across the major indices. Perhaps you see some short covering into the close. If we don't, that's not a good sign. If we don't get short covering here into this close, I would not figure that to be a good sign for next week. So with that, UVXY is meddling around. This will kind of remain on our side list. It's there. If the markets drop off, UVXY will go up. If the markets go up, UVXY will drop off. So, for those of us that do really well on this ETF or the others like SQQQ, keep it on your list if you do well. But otherwise, let's see what's on the loser side for right now. Geez, REV. All right, so this thing is hard to borrow on my platform here on TradeStation today. REV is hard to borrow. I don't know if I can get the shares to short it, but it's down enough to where if it fails to break lower, perhaps we do get a dead cat bounce. Revlon, interesting. Wow, they dropped all the way down. Let me check out the daily chart here pretty briefly. Wow, really across the end of last year, once it broke support from like roughly 10, there's really no looking back. So it looks like the stock's breaking all-time lows. If it's shortable on your platform, then obviously respect the trend down because this would be a pretty interesting short then in that case. So REV in particular, I'll add to our list. Fulk, Fulc. For as much down as this was before, it's actually already making a nice little dead cat bounce here. The question is how much more is there to this bounce? I'm not expecting there to be a whole lot more left on this trade. So, this is what you hope to see REV do if you can't short REV. For as much down as REV is, 47%, hey, Fulk was down probably as much. And, it made a nice bounce from 430-ish or sub 430 all the way up to 515. So, that's why we at least have Rev on the list, but I don't know how much more this one in particular will keep moving up. Dave, I guess that's a bad name. BJDX from yesterday, tried turning chicken crap into chicken salad on this in a down market. We were hoping for a pop on this and a run and had an all right entry, but obviously did not continue. So, yeah, right now, this thing's not looking great. The DocuSign trade, for as expensive as it is, it's not worth it. It's just, dead. All right, folks, not to sound lazy, and I'll tell you, there are a couple of stocks that are shortable here, and the market's down, so there could be some more stocks that are on the loser side. I'll do a quick rummage through, but if there's anything else that looks good up or, namely down, 5% or more, type it in the chat board here. Just let me know. Stitch Fix. Stocks breaking all-time lows, if I'm not mistaken here, or otherwise just multi-year lows at least. All-time lows. All-time lows. All right, so SFIX, I like this as a short. Obviously, no historical support for this trade. So, Stitch Fix, we'll put on there. Just all these others, at least, that are easy to borrow. You got to check the volume and the price on them. LABUs and ETF. All right, Open here. I thought Open was breaking all-time lows like a month or two ago. I remember one of our students, Chuck, writing that. Don't ask how I remember that from a month or so ago, folks. I don't really have much of a life. So that's where I could say at least Open. Well, it was breaking all-time lows back a couple months ago. I was right with that. And, it's not breaking a new low just yet, but dropping off, on the intraday chart. The only issue is that it's pretty slow. So, Stitch Fix looks a lot better right now for comparing the two. It's tradable, but there's better out there than this. Fresh, is this HelloFresh or Fresh Works? Okay. Stock is shortable, breaking all-time lows, but on the intraday chart, just not really looking too great. Not a whole lot happening there. All right, Bobby on Redbox. Bobby, you've been killing it today from market open to right now. I got to congratulate you. You've had a really great day today. You picked up another 23 or 25 cents on it. We got Bobby on YouTube, Bobby C, and then we got Bobby J on YouTube. Bobby, calling out TAL here. All right, well, TAL is pushing up. Don't get me wrong, it's there. Question is this too slow? Because EDU should be moving up too. And EDU is a little bit thinner in terms of the volume traded, and you kind of want that. Here at least ended up making a nice little push from the early afternoon. Perhaps there's a chance for this to really pop and go. Then what was the other one? GOTU, if I'm not mistaken, right, Bobby? You know what? That TAL, if anything, is looking really the best. Definitely the TAL is looking the sharpest of those three so far. EDU could become the most volatile of those three. But you know what? TAL, I'll put on our list. I like it. Trinia, that's a shame. Trinia says, I didn't find the red box trade until the end of it. I had to drive my son to school. So family comes first. We all know that, right? But it just, at the end of the day, have we not seen red box run before? Have we not killed it on red box in the past? Well, that doesn't mean that we're going to continue to kill it on red box in particular, but there's always going to be another trade. There's always going to be another runner like red box today. So that's all right. It's a shame in the moment to miss the move and come back and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I just missed that. But hey, maybe over the next 70 minutes, we're going to find another big runner coming up from this list, folks. Perhaps. We'll find out. I think that's just about it, folks. That's all I got here on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube. That's all I got for all of us live inside the trading room. Let me just check YouTube, or let me just check Benzinga before we finish up. Slow down here before I finish, too. IMTE, we have that on our list already. It's still looking all right, coiling up, still kind of showing a trend up, higher lows. Needs to really pop those soon. The HYMC trade, flat. It's up 6.7% right now, but not much to it, really. I'll tell you what, one that I am going to add to our list, and one I'm actually kicking myself between you and I'm always transparent. PALT is inching back up right now. And, it's not like, near the highs, and it's not the best one that we're going to put on the list. And I'm not in it right now, folks. The reason I even bring this up is because I called it out earlier, and I usually trade what I call out. I was in this from 216. I was off to a decent little start, and then it came back down, and I just said, the hell with it. I'll just get out, break even. Well, it actually held. I probably shouldn't have gone against my first instinct. I had a stop set at least. Should have stuck with my first instinct like we always talk about. And it's inching up a little bit more. Is it possible for this to make another pop-up, perhaps up towards like 242? It's possible. It doesn't hurt us to put this on our watch list, if anything. So for right now, I'll do that, especially with this holding and moving back up. I wish I could say I'm still in it, but so be it. Norman here at the end says ENSV worth watching. Got to make sure that we have enough time to join Fausto's class coming up at 3, right? 3:05. It's not really trading a lot of volume right now. It's only 746,000 shares. A lot of that volume coming in recently off the 3 level, but at least for right now, we'll pass. If there was a lot more volume coming in, shortly from now, then we'll be interested. If that moves up, then I would hope to see HUSA move up, and that's not really doing anything really. The 9 trade, all of these other energy stocks. So, I think that could be a false move there, Norman, like a teaser. Be careful on that one. All right, folks, for all of us on Facebook Live, YouTube, I appreciate you sticking with me today, especially during that small little blip of a tech issue. But nonetheless, enjoy the weekend, TGIF. If you have any other questions, feel more than free to send over a quick email, josh@ctutrading.com. I always like to post my email here at the end of these streams. But otherwise, if you wanted to join us inside our live trading room, just go right down to the link on the yellow banner below right there to get yourself started. I know that Rich will be on the mic coming up right at 3. Most of our students will be with Fausto in the advanced trading class in the phase 3 stock course. So I know he's prepping up or finishing his last preps right now for that class. And then I'll be back on the mic right at 3:30 for all of us otherwise inside the live trading room to wrap things up into the end of the week. All right, folks, I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9. Do it.